I was sitting on the couch, the sunlight spilling into the room, when my phone buzzed with a new message. I glanced at the screen, expecting a simple "Hey" or "How was your day?" from Ethan. Instead, I saw a text that shattered my world into a million pieces. Saw Ethan at the cafe with someone else. Thought you should know. My heart raced, the words blurring together as I tried to process what I had just read. Was this a cruel joke? I felt my stomach drop, and a cold wave of disbelief washed over me. I closed my eyes, trying to picture Ethan's smile, the way his laughter could light up my darkest days. But now, all I could see was him with another woman. My mind flashed back to our last date, the way he held my hand, the promises we shared. How could he betray me like this? I felt a sharp pain in my chest, a mix of anger and heartbreak that was almost unbearable. "Who is she?" I whispered to myself, my voice shaky. "What does she have that I don't?" I never thought I would be that person, the one who imagined their partner with someone else. But now, I was lost in a whirlwind of emotions: betrayal, anger, sadness. I pictured Ethan whispering sweet things to her, sharing moments that were once ours. It felt like a knife twisting in my heart. I wanted to scream, to throw my phone against the wall, to demand answers. But instead, I sat there, frozen, wrestling with the chaos inside me. Why did he do this? The question echoed in my mind, louder than any other thought. Was it something I did? Did he ever really love me? As I sat there, the internal conflict began. I could either drown in despair or find a way to take control. Revenge flickered in my mind, a dark and tempting thought. What if I made him feel the same pain he caused me? I pictured him realizing what he had lost, the regret washing over him like a tidal wave. But then, another part of me whispered, is revenge really the answer? Would it heal my heart or just deepen my wounds? I felt stuck between two paths, one that led to bitterness and another that could lead to empowerment. In that moment of turmoil, I made a decision. I would not let this define me. I would take control of my narrative. "He thinks he can just walk away?" I muttered, determination creeping into my voice. No, not without consequences. I took a deep breath, feeling a flicker of strength in the pit of my stomach. I pulled myself up from the couch and paced around the room, my mind racing with ideas. I need a plan, I thought, each step echoing my resolve. I would gather information, learn the truth behind his betrayal. I would not be the victim in this story. I would be the one who wrote it. The thought of confronting him made my heart race, but I knew it was necessary. "I need to know everything," I said aloud, my voice steady now. "I deserve that much." I could already feel the adrenaline coursing through me, the thrill of taking back control overshadowing the pain. As I stared out the window, watching the world go by, I felt a strange sense of clarity. This isn't just about Ethan anymore, I realized. It's about me. It's about reclaiming my life. I knew the road ahead would be tough, but I was ready to face it. I would rise from the ashes of this betrayal, stronger and smarter. "Let the games begin," I whispered, a smirk forming on my lips. The narrative was shifting, and I was no longer the passive character in my own story. I was ready to play my part, and I wouldn't back down. I stood at the edge of my own life, uncertain but determined. The shock of Ethan's betrayal still echoed in my chest, but I had made my choice. Revenge was my new mission. I had to gather information about him, to understand his secrets and lies. I needed to know what I was up against. With a deep breath, I decided to start with his friends. They were my friends too, and I hoped they would not suspect anything. I arranged a casual dinner with a mutual friend, Sarah, who had always been close to us. We met at our favorite cafe, a place filled with memories of laughter and shared moments. "Hey, it's been a while," Sarah said, her smile brightening the dimly lit cafe. I forced a smile back, but inside I felt like I was wearing a mask. "Yeah, I've been busy," I replied, stirring my coffee absent-mindedly. "How is Ethan doing?" Sarah's expression shifted, and for a brief moment, I thought I saw concern. "He's okay, I guess. Just, life has been a bit rough for him lately." "Rough? In what way?" I asked, my heart racing. She hesitated, glancing around as if afraid someone might overhear us. "Well, he's been struggling with work. I heard he's having some financial issues, but he's trying to keep it together." Financial troubles? That was news to me. Our life had seemed perfect, but now I could see the cracks. I felt a mix of anger and sadness. I had to dig deeper. "Do you think he's okay?" I asked, my voice steady. "I think he's just trying to keep up appearances. You know how he is," Sarah replied. "Always wants to seem strong." I nodded, hiding my growing frustration. "Yeah, I know." I changed the subject, trying to keep the conversation light, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. After dinner, I walked home, my mind racing. Ethan's troubles only fueled my determination. I needed to know more about him and the woman he was seeing. I had seen her once, a glimpse of her in a photo he had carelessly left open on his phone. She looked so different from me, yet there was something familiar about her. I needed to find out who she was. The next day, I met up with another friend, Jake, who had always been close to Ethan. I hoped I could get more insight into Ethan's life. "Jake, what's up with Ethan?" I asked casually, leaning against the wall of the local bookstore. "He seems off lately." Jake looked at me, his brow furrowed. "You know how he is. He's always been a bit of a lone wolf. But I heard he's been hanging out with someone new." "Someone new?" I repeated, my heart pounding. "Who is she?" He hesitated. "I don't know her name, but I think she works at that new bar downtown. I saw them together a couple of times." "A bar?" I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. I couldn't believe it. "Does he talk about her?" Jake shrugged. "Not really, but he seems different when he comes around. More distracted." I thanked Jake and walked away, my mind spinning. I felt angry, betrayed, and yet a part of me felt a strange sense of relief. The pieces were starting to come together. I had to confront Ethan, but first, I needed to gather more evidence. That night, I sat on my bed, scrolling through social media. I searched for the bar Jake mentioned, hoping to find the other woman. I found a few photos, and my heart sank as I saw her laughing with friends, her eyes sparkling. I couldn't help but feel a twinge of jealousy. As I reflected on my plan, I began to question my motives. Would revenge truly bring me closure? I knew I had to confront Ethan, but was it right? In that moment of uncertainty, I whispered to myself, "What do you really want?" The answer was unclear, hidden beneath layers of pain and anger. I realized that my mission was not just about revenge, it was about understanding, and perhaps healing. As I sat there, I felt a shift inside me. I needed to be careful. I needed to tread lightly on this fragile path I had chosen. The journey was just beginning, and I had to be ready for whatever lay ahead. As I walked through the park where Ethan and I used to spend our weekends, a tangle of emotions gripped me. I had come to know the other woman's name, Sophie. I had seen her in pictures, her smile bright and carefree, a stark contrast to the storm brewing in my heart. Today, I felt a strange pull toward her. Maybe it was the need to understand, to confront the truth that lay hidden beneath layers of betrayal and anger. I spotted her sitting on a bench, a book resting in her lap, her brow furrowed in thought. She looked up as I approached, and for a moment, I felt the urge to turn back. But I took a breath, reminding myself of my resolve. I was not here to confront her, but to find clarity. "Hi," I said, my voice wavering slightly. Sophie, right? She looked surprised but nodded. Yes, that's me. And you are? I'm the one Ethan… Well, I'm his girlfriend, I admitted, the words tasting bitter on my tongue. I just wanted to talk. Sophie's expression shifted from surprise to guarded curiosity. Okay, what do you want to talk about? I sat down beside her, the tension in the air almost palpable. I guess I want to understand. Why him? Why now? Sophie sighed, her gaze dropping to the book in her hands. Honestly, I didn't plan for any of this. I didn't know he was with someone. I thought he was single. Really? I asked, incredulity creeping into my voice. You didn't know about me? No, she replied, looking pained. I met him at a party a few months ago. He seemed charming, like someone who had his life together. I thought he was just another guy in a big city, looking for something real. The heaviness in her words struck me. I had painted her as a villain, a seducer in my story, but here she was, just as lost as I felt. What did he tell you about his life? I asked, more softly now. She looked away, her expression distant. He talked about dreams and aspirations. He made me feel special, like I was the only one who mattered. But now I see the cracks. I felt a surge of empathy wash over me. He's in trouble, isn't he? Financially? Sophie nodded, her voice barely a whisper. He never mentioned it, but I could tell he was stressed. Sometimes he would stare off into space, like he was fighting demons I couldn't see. Demons, I repeated, the word resonating deeply. That's a good way to put it. I've seen that look in his eyes, too. I paused, fighting the urge to lash out. But why continue with him if you knew he was with someone? It's complicated, she said, frustration creeping into her voice. I didn't want to believe he was lying to me, and I didn't know how to walk away once I found out. I guess I thought I could fix things, maybe save him from himself. The weight of her words settled heavily on my chest. Here was a woman who, like me, was entangled in a web of deceit and longing. I was not just angry at Ethan. I was angry at the situation that had ensnared us both. Do you think you can fix him? I asked, my curiosity piqued. She shook her head, tears glistening in her eyes. No, I think we both need to let go. He isn't the man I thought he was, and I can't be the reason he stays lost. In that moment, I realized how intertwined our lives had become, both of us victims of Ethan's choices. I felt responsible, not just for my own pain, but for hers too. I don't want to hurt you, Sophie. I don't want to hurt him either. What do you want? She asked, her voice steady now. I want to stop feeling this way, I confessed. I want to stop plotting revenge. I want to find peace. Her eyes softened, and for the first time, I saw her not as the enemy, but as another soul seeking understanding. Maybe we can both find it, she suggested gently. Together. As I sat there, a flicker of hope ignited within me. Perhaps this unexpected encounter was the turning point I needed. I didn't have to let anger dictate my life. Maybe, just maybe, there was a path forward that didn't involve revenge, but rather compassion and understanding. I stood in front of Ethan, my heart racing and my mind spinning. I had imagined this moment 1,000 times, but nothing could prepare me for the reality of it. The room felt heavy with unspoken words, and the air crackled with tension. Ethan, I said, my voice trembling slightly, we need to talk. He looked at me, his eyes wide with surprise. I didn't think you would confront me. I thought you would just disappear. Disappear? I echoed, feeling the heat rise in my cheeks. You think I would just walk away after everything? After what you did? He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture I recognized all too well. It was the same way he would do when he was anxious. What do you want me to say? I messed up. I made a terrible mistake." "Is that all you can say?" I shot back. "You think saying sorry makes everything okay? You hurt me, Ethan. You shattered my trust." His expression shifted, and I could see the weight of my words sinking in. I know I did. But you have to understand." His voice broke, and he struggled to continue. "I was scared. I was scared of losing you, of losing everything. It felt like I was drowning in my own life." Drowning. It was a word that resonated deeply. I felt like I had been drowning too, in my own sadness and confusion. "So instead of talking to me, you chose to betray me? You chose another woman?" He took a step closer, desperation etched on his face. "I didn't think it would happen. It just did. I thought I could handle it, but I lost control. I never meant to hurt you." I could feel a mix of anger and sympathy wash over me. "You think that makes it better? You think I can just forget everything?" "No, I don't. He paused, looking down at the floor as if searching for answers in the cracks of the tiles. "I want you to know that I regret it. I regret everything." There was a moment of silence, a heavy pause where both of us stood, grappling with our emotions. I could see the tears starting to form in his eyes, and it caught me off guard. "Ethan, why did you do this to yourself? To us?" "I was afraid," he whispered, finally meeting my gaze again. "Afraid of being vulnerable. Afraid that if I let you see the real me, you would leave. I thought I could protect myself by pushing you away first." "By cheating?" I asked, my voice softer now, almost a whisper. "That's how you protect yourself?" "I know it sounds stupid," he said, desperation spilling from his words. "But it made sense in my head at the time. Now, I realize how wrong I was. I can't take it back." "Ethan," I said, feeling the weight of his confession. "I can't pretend this didn't happen. You broke something in me." "I know," he replied, his voice cracking. "But what if we could try to fix it? What if we could start over?" "Start over?" I echoed, feeling a wave of confusion wash over me. "You mean, pretend everything is fine? That I can just forget?" "No, not pretend. I want to be honest with you, completely honest. I want to be better. I want to understand why I did this. I want to fix us, if you'll let me." The vulnerability in his voice struck me. It was a side of him I hadn't seen in a long time. "You think it's that easy? That I can just forgive you and move on?" "I don't expect you to forgive me right away. I just hope you can see how much I regret it. I don't want to lose you." As I looked into his eyes, I saw the cracks in his facade. He was just as broken as I was. "Ethan, this hurts, but maybe we can start by being honest with each other. No more lies." He nodded slowly, tears spilling down his cheeks. "I want that. I want to be honest." In that moment, we both understood that healing would take time, but at least we were willing to start the journey together, acknowledging the fractures in our relationship, ready to face the echoes of silence that had once filled the space between us. The days following my confrontation with Ethan were a blur. I felt as if I was drifting through a fog of emotions, trying to find my way back to solid ground. The raw pain of our exchange lingered in my mind, but it also sparked something deep within me, a flicker of hope that maybe this was my chance to finally understand who I was, apart from him. One evening, sitting on my couch with a cup of tea, I reflected on everything that had happened. I closed my eyes and let the warmth of the mug seep into my hands. In that moment, I could feel the weight of my anger slowly lifting. I whispered to myself, maybe revenge isn't the answer after all. My phone buzzed beside me, breaking the silence. It was Maria, my close friend. "Hey, how are you holding up?" she texted. I smiled at her concern. Maria had always been there for me, through thick and thin. I typed back, "I'm okay. just trying to figure things out." A moment later, she replied, "Want to grab dinner? I think you need some time away from the house." I hesitated for a moment. The thought of going out scared me, but I knew I couldn't hide forever. "Sure, I'd love that. Let's meet at our favorite place?" "Perfect. See you in an hour." As I got ready, I looked at my reflection in the mirror. The person staring back at me seemed different, stronger, maybe. I brushed my hair and put on a simple dress. I wanted to feel good about myself, even if just for a night. At the restaurant, Maria greeted me with a warm hug. "You look great," she said, her eyes sparkling with kindness. "How have you been?" I took a deep breath, feeling the familiar comfort of her presence. "I've been thinking a lot about everything. It's hard to let go of the anger, you know, but I think I'm starting to realize that holding on to it won't help me." Maria nodded, her expression serious. "That's a big step. You deserve to be happy, not stuck in a cycle of pain. Have you thought about what you want to do next?" "I want to explore my passions," I replied, feeling a sense of excitement building inside me. I used to love painting and writing, but I pushed those aside for so long. "Then do it. Dive back into the things that make you feel alive," Maria encouraged. "You're more than just Ethan's girlfriend. You're an amazing person with so much to offer." Her words resonated with me. I realized that I had been so focused on our relationship that I lost sight of my own dreams. "You're right," I said, my voice gaining strength. "I need to find out who I am on my own." As the night went on, we laughed and shared stories, and I felt a sense of warmth envelop me. It was as if the echoes of silence that had haunted me were finally fading away. I was learning to embrace the idea of forgiveness, not just for Ethan, but for myself as well. After dinner, we walked through the park, the cool breeze whispering through the trees. "You know, it's okay to feel sad about what happened," Maria said softly. "But don't let it define you. You have the power to choose how you move forward." "I'm starting to see that," I admitted. "I want to rebuild my life, connect with friends and family again. I need that support." "Absolutely. You're not alone in this," she assured me. "Let's plan a girls' night soon. We can invite everyone." "That sounds perfect," I said, feeling the weight of loneliness begin to lift. "I'm ready to build my support system again." As we reached my car, I turned to Maria, feeling a newfound determination. "Thank you for being here for me. I don't know what I'd do without you." She smiled, her eyes shining with friendship. "You'll find your way. Just remember, it's about taking one step at a time." Driving home that night, I felt lighter. I was beginning to let go of the anger and embrace the journey ahead. It was time to redefine my life and discover who I was meant to be. The echoes of silence were fading, replaced by the promise of a brighter tomorrow. As I stood in front of the mirror that morning, I took a moment to absorb the reflection staring back at me. This was not just any reflection. It was a woman who had endured heartache and emerged stronger. I could see the light in my eyes again, a hint of determination that hadn't been there for quite some time. Today marked the start of a new chapter, a fresh beginning I had longed for. "Today is the day," I whispered to myself, feeling a surge of excitement. I had spent the last few weeks focusing on what I wanted, mapping out my dreams and aspirations. Instead of dwelling on the pain of the past, I was now ready to embrace the future. I took a deep breath, grabbed my notebook, and sat at my kitchen table. The sun spilled through the window, warming my skin as I flipped to a clean page. I wrote goals at the top, the word feeling empowering as I began to list everything I wanted to achieve. 1. Travel. I had always dreamed of visiting Italy. The art, the food, the culture, it all called to me. 2. Reconnect with friends. I wanted to reach out to those I had lost touch with during my time with Ethan. 3. Start painting again, Creating art had always been my escape, and I missed the feeling of brush against canvas. I paused, letting the ideas flow. Each goal was a promise to myself. It was time to live for me, not for someone else. "Hey, what are you up to?" My friend Mia's voice broke through my thoughts as she stepped into my kitchen, her energy filling the room. "I'm planning my future," I replied, unable to hide the smile on my face. "I want to travel, reconnect with friends, and start painting again." Mia's eyes lit up. "That sounds amazing! You deserve this after everything. I can help you with the travel plans. We should start looking into flights." "Really? That would be great." I couldn't help but feel a rush of gratitude for her support. "I want to go to Italy, maybe next spring." "Let's make it happen then," she said, clapping her hands together. "And what about the painting? When are you going to start?" "I think I'll set up a little corner in my living room. I have my old canvases and paints in the attic. It's time to bring them back out." Mia nodded enthusiastically. "Yes, I want to see your work again. You have such a talent. It's time to share it with the world." As we talked, I felt the weight of my past begin to lift. I was no longer defined by my relationship with Ethan. I was learning to love myself, flaws and all. Later that day, I decided to brave the attic. Dust swirled in the air as I climbed up the rickety stairs. The smell of old wood and memories greeted me. I rummaged through boxes until I found my art supplies. Holding the paintbrush in my hand again felt like reconnecting with a piece of my soul. "Let's see what you can do," I said to myself, setting up my supplies in the living room. I placed a blank canvas on the easel and stood before it, my heart racing with anticipation. With each stroke of the brush, I felt my spirit lift. The colors danced together, swirling into shapes and forms that expressed my journey. It wasn't just a painting, it was a representation of my healing, my growth. "Wow, that's beautiful!" Mia exclaimed as she peeked over my shoulder. "You still have it!" I laughed, feeling a rush of pride. "Thanks. It feels good to create again." As the sun set, I stepped back to admire my work. It wasn't perfect, but it was mine. It was a reflection of my emotions, my resilience, and my hopes for the future. "Remember," Mia said softly, "this is just the beginning. You have so much ahead of you." I nodded, a sense of calm washing over me. I was ready to embrace whatever came next. With each passing day, I was learning that healing was not a destination, but a journey. I could finally move forward, liberated from the echoes of silence that had once consumed me. The future looked bright, and I was eager to explore every possibility. Share this story if you believe that personal growth can triumph over our past struggles. Leave a comment about a moment when you embraced a fresh start and how it transformed your life. Don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories like this.